Morning everybody. Saturday 18th of May and we're off to Acorn. Spring League, second round, and we're in a bit of a funny section today. We were on sort of Cyanide Straight last time, if you recall. We had a section win, which is a fantastic start. I couldn't ask for anything more really. It was difficult on the day, wasn't it? Bright, flat, they were a little bit iffy. We did catch one or two down the edge in the end, being very, very patient, and we won the section with £115, so brilliant start. As I mentioned before, there's no money for frame places in this. It's all about the section. They're quite big sections and they pay top 3 in each section. It's all about those points. I'd love to do well in the series. It's only the second round. We're in a section with pegs 25, which is a good peg, a peg I've never drawn yet. It's a new peg actually, where they put in a sort of new concrete bridge. Wouldn't mind drawing that, but we're on peg 25 round to peg 40 today. 40 being a bridge peg, 25 being a bridge peg, 33 that we were on last week being a bridge peg, and the opposite side obviously 34. I wouldn't mind one of those bridges. I got lots of caster with me today. I felt I learned quite a lot last week, and I might even fish one of the edges with caster as well, and then the other edge with ground bait, because ground bait hasn't really been happening, has it? So it's a little bit cloudy at the moment, but it's meant to be a scorcher. May get a little bit of drizzle in between, but nothing too much, I think. So lovely day, lovely weather. Let's go and have a breakfast. And so there we go. A little bit of caster down the edge to the right hand side at the start, and I'm going to have a look on that straight away because we've got that wind blowing in, and it's just in case it's a red letter day, isn't it? If it's one of those days where they're suddenly down the edge from the very start, you want to be the first one to find that out. So it's always worth a little look. This feels like a skimmer. But always worth a look, as I say, you know. 6-hour match, it's no rush. So no more down the edge. So off we go across. Standard really, isn't it? Standard fare. 4mm pellets over hard 4mm pellets. And we've got one. I cut a little bit out though. We did foul hook a couple, which to be honest is normal really. They tend to come rushing in and don't really settle on that. It takes 25 minutes or so. And then once they settle a little bit, you can try and sort the feed in. We're on peg 29 today. There is better pegs in the section, or I think there is anyway, but we have got that breeze and I'm very thankful for that today. We've been throwing caster in down the middle there from the start as well. Well, not quite the middle even, not very far at all. So we're ticking over, aren't we? We're not setting the world alight, but we are ticking over. And that's all you need to do really early. Don't do anything silly. Try and put some fish in the net. Long pole to the island is always a safe bet. I mean, I could be trying a short line in front of me and that for fish. I mean, sometimes that works, but sometimes it doesn't. I mean, but you fish long to the island. If you feel that you can do that with a long pole, then it's always worth starting there once you've tried those edges, because you're gonna catch some fish for definite. And that's, like I say, all you've got to do. The early hours of the match, just don't do anything silly. Keep trying to just put something in the net. These matches now, this time of year, now it's warming up, there'll always be won and lost in the last 90 minutes down them edges or on a short line in front of you. I think we got our first proper carp. Feels like it. It definitely feels like a carp. And it already feels like we're on a better stamp of fish than we were last week. If any of you watched it, Crash Peg, which is in this section actually, just along there, 33 on the bridge. You can see the two yellow pipes running along the bridge there. So yeah, we're on a better stamp of fish, so there's no rush, is there? And if you catch the better stamp, a decent stamp early, then they're definitely going to be about late, aren't they? So yeah, definitely a better stamp of fish. That's bigger than anything we caught last week. So they've gone a little bit weird across, but I don't think I got the feeding quite right yet. We're just tapping in fours and fishing a four. I've seen one or two spawn in when I have a little walk round before the draw today. So and I think where they've been spawning and eating the spore. That's the thing with carp and that all the fish really, they're all cannibals. They'll all eat the spore, and I think when they start doing that, they like those softer baits. They get used to it. So although I want to fish a 4 mil pellet across, and I will continue to do that, I think I might start feeding some softened micros. There'll be a few fours in with those micros, um, but I think I'm going to have to do that. And then you've got to be a little bit careful with micros, or you can really blow them up across it. They'll just be all over the shop. So not too many. So we've caught one down the middle on caster, which is brilliant. I'm not looking to set the world alight with this line at all. It is very bright, and at times it goes flat. We've got a little bit of breeze coming in, but it isn't, it's not a great big wind, is it? And you can see it just sort of tails off as it comes into where I'm throwing the casters as well. And that's a roach. So yeah, first dob on it, no surprise, had a carp. Then they got a bit cute and they moved away quite quickly, and we've got a roach. That's okay. We're putting a few fish in the net, putting something in the net whilst we're resting that line across, which is absolutely fine. Some of the silvers in here are quality, so I don't mind that at all. A little flick of the rig, just flicking the rig over as you've seen, but not slapping it. I realised last week that they spooked from that, so just giving it a little flick over. I think if you're fishing pellets and baits that are hitting the water a little bit harder when you're throwing them in or catapulting them in is okay. But with casters don't make that much noise, do they, hitting the water? So a little flick over the rig seems to be better. Every time we hook a fish, throw those casters in behind, don't we? Any fish that are spooked, we want them to turn back round, come back. So back across, and we've put a few micros in this time. And that seemed better. I didn't see I didn't see so many tail patterns. Didn't get so many liners. Just a nice little dig on the float. That's what we want. At the moment we're just catching a few small carp, aren't we? A few skimmers, an odd quality roach, and we're just ticking along, which is fine. It's only the first hour. Not doing anything silly like big potting anything anywhere or ruining anything in our peg. We had a little look down the edge, putting a little bit of caster, but I think that's probably cleared out by now. It's whatever, small fish, roach, whatever. Caught a skimmer down there as well, didn't we? So, and that's all you want really early is just a couple of lines that you can catch fish off of and just alternate, and then you can think, well, where can I catch bigger fish or catch faster whilst you're doing it. But at the moment in these conditions and looking around me what's happening, we're quite happy. to look out on that caster line. I'm resting across now. Ross has been okay. It's yielded one or two quality fish. I think odd quality fish showing this early in the match as well tells me that there might be some quality fish around here in that last 90 minutes, which would be brilliant because that's something we've lacked here the last couple of times we've been on the lake. To be honest, the sort of last 90 minutes or so has really let us down, and that's been the difference. We've done everything right the sort of first 4.5 hours. And I just feel, yeah, we've just not had those sort of stamp of fish around us. So we'll see today. But as I say, reasonably happy with this. Odd skimmers, even tench coming up for that caster, which is lovely. There's a nice big roach as well, actually, in between. So a quick look down the edge, and we're using grain bait down the left-hand edge. And still using that light kit. I don't mind that. We are up on 014 on hook lengths now. We're away from our 012, but we're on 014. Still those little 20 hooks. But still the white hydro. I want to catch everything. Carasio, F1s, little carp, big carp. You just got to take your time. If you get the old big carp, it's fine. So we got a fish on here, look, which is a little bit better. So as you've seen there, I took the pole apart earlier, so as I got a couple of sections I can leave behind me. Because once I get rid of that top kit, if a stamp fish wants to run off again, I can grab those couple of sections and stick them back on, no matter what angle that fish is sort of pulled the top kit round at. If I left all the pole in one, and I have 14.5 meters of pole behind me, and my top kit's off round at an angle, and the fish has bottomed me out, then you've had it, haven't you? The duck likes my casters anyway, doesn't he? Yeah, we did actually think that was foul hook, to be honest, the way it ran off. It's just one of those really lively commons, isn't it? They got some lovely fish down here. I did actually try and come down and just to do a sort of pleasure thing. I never go pleasure fishing, but I wanted to come down and show you how I feed the edges with the ground bait and the cab pot, etc. And I did look to come down and made some phone calls down. It was just matches. It's just matches down there all the time. So we will still try and do it. It's just a question. I do work in the week, so it's just a question of trying to find a Saturday or Sunday where there isn't a match. I can actually get down there to do it. And that fish is hooked just outside the mouth, actually. He's the right end, but he was just outside the mouth. Lovely on that soft elastic, and even in 20 inches of water, they don't break surface. Just swim out, you follow them out, and you don't disturb everything over there. And as I say, and I've said it before, where you play that fish on your top kit under your feet for that little bit longer because you're fishing light, those fish across have had time to regroup, gain a little bit of confidence, so they're all lined up ready for you to go back over and get another one. Or that's the plan anyway. So it's going right at the minute, isn't it? So a few more casters. They're weighing quite light, some of these fish at the minute, I think, because obviously they have just spawned. So you can see my main line then as well was hankering over my landing net, and this is why I mentioned before why we use 2.0 on our carp rigs at least, minimal 2.0 now, because that line, when I was netting that fish, I try and keep my top kit as upright as I can, so as the line goes, sort of doesn't hang over the rim of that landing net. But even then, at times when those fish are thrashing about and that, and you're trying to get the hook out, your line will go over the side of those nets, and it takes a lot of stick. Anything less, I think, once it's warmed up like this now, is just a waste of time, because you'll never be a bagger if you're fishing anything less than 2.0 on a main line, to be honest. F1s and things is a bit different, but you know, a mixed fishery, if you like, where there's plenty of quality carp, you know, you've got to be looking at 2.0 at least. A nasty bit of net in there, second chance, we got him, and you see how the line just hankers over that. Then we try and hold the top kit upright, like, as much as we can to take any stress off of that main line. It's quite important, that. So 90 minutes ago, and we got one. Got one down our left edge, so we're sprinkling a few maggots in there, but away from the board, sort of 18 inches or so away from the board, so they're dropping down the shelf a little bit. And then we're fishing right up next to the boards with treble white maggot on a 16 hook, B911. 2.2 main line now on the edge rigs and 0.16 hook length, 4-inch hook length, 0.4 float, everything bulked above the 4-inch hook length. We haven't put a cab pot on yet, but we have fed some ground bait down the edge. Not loads, but just the bottom of sort of the big cup, just to attract, as an attractant to attract some fish, you know. That's a decent fish as well. You'll do. So it's certainly not solid, but you know, a good start. It's a settler, isn't it? You can say you get that first one. And you've probably seen then how small that bite was, that sort of quick dig on the float. And that's what it's like fishing maggots down the edge, because they're such a light bait. They don't need to suck that hard, which is why I've said before I like to incorporate a little bit of corn in that in my ground bait, because it just makes them suck that little bit harder, and then they don't differentiate between a piece of corn and a maggot, and you just get a slightly better bite to have a go at. But I didn't bring any today. It's just it's sort of 50-50 Tom Fix edge mix and damp and micros going in down the left hand edge, along with some white maggots being thrown in once we've hooked one, and on the right hand edge it's just maggots being thrown now. Airborne tench. Don't see that every day, do you? In for pain, they give a great account of themselves, don't they, tench? Love them. So typically the wind's been and dropped. Always going to happen when it was down them edges. It dropped about an hour ago, to be fair, but there's a slight breeze sort of off my right shoulder now. You can see it blowing over. If you look to my right there, blowing into Barry on peg 25. Good angler Barry and a good peg as well. So got my eye on him today. And the elastic we're using down the edge is the green hybrid. It's just called hybrid. It's Dave Wilmot's hybrid elastic. Really like it, actually. I've got used to it now. Once you get used to a bit of kit, you sort of stick with it. You know how much you can give it. You know exactly how it reacts. I mean, whether you, I'm not saying that you go and use it. I'm just saying whatever you use, you know, get used to it. But it is a good elastic. If you were looking for an elastic, I'd recommend it. We've had a good run of fish now to the left. Definitely the stronger side. We are cab potting ground bait now as well. I'm still using the other lines. I'm still going to the right and going to the short line, even though we're catching very little on those lines. If it's, you know, just a quality silver or a small carp or whatever, because it just rests that left hand line. Although there is signs of fish there now, not tail patterns or anything. 'Cause it's quite. These are deep edges. They're 2.5 foot edges, um, but probably a little bit more than that. Actually, I'd say more like, I don't know, sort of 32 inches, something like that. But they're you can tell that there's fish there, slight movements on the float, etc. So I don't, you know, even when a line's really solid, you can destroy it by just keep fishing it. So I am giving it a break every now and then. Just looking for that little dink. There it is. Not massive bites, are they? It does feel like a carp this time, so that's handy. Not caught nothing on that top kit in front of our keep nets, but I think it's a little bit deep, to be honest. It's got about 3.5 foot there. I think it's, I just think it's a little bit deep. These edges being so deep are perfect, to be honest. And now I think, sort of thinking over what to do and whether to keep feeding that short line, because I don't want to deter fish from coming into that right hand margin. And it might well be that that's what it's been, where I'm chucking maggots in on that 3.5 foot just in front of the nets there off to the right. Maybe that's just stopping them coming up that edge that little bit more as well. Or it might be that ground bait's spot on. We'll find out as we go. You know, you're thinking all the time, aren't you, in a match, which is what I love really, is thinking about what you're doing, trying to work it out. And when it comes good, and it doesn't always, does it? You know, none of us are perfect, but when it does, it's a lovely feeling. So yeah, he's not as big as some of the ones we've caught down the left, but he's all right, isn't he? He's 5 or 6 pound. That's absolutely fine. So back down to the left. Yeah, straight in. Throw a few maggots after we've hooked one. It's no different than fishing a short meat line or anything else, is it? You know, as soon as you hook a fish, other fish turn away, spook a little bit. You want to throw a little bit of bait in, get them to turn back round, get them occupied, get them feeding whilst you're playing this one. These are carp, well, I say carp kits, these are interelastics I'm using down the edge. When I fish across, etc., I generally use match kits, to be honest, because I'm only using white hydro, so it doesn't matter. I get them wrapped, drill them out, put Preston puller bungs in them because I like those with the little PTFE roller in them. Um, yeah, and I tend to use quite light kits. I will use proper the big bore ones at times, sort of Sedge's Top Kit League, which we got coming up next week, which I can't wait. That's going to be a great match. Yeah, I'll be using them then. So I speeded this one up a little bit because it's a bit of a scrapper, this one. Yeah, he feels like he got some weight as well. He's hooked in the mouth. He's just got some weight. You know, when you hook a fish like that, you take your time because they're worth a couple of the other size fish, aren't they? Really. And it's always nice to catch them. And who doesn't like a big fish? Yeah, he's bottomed me out a little bit a couple of times there, and I've just played him off the pole a little bit. Oh, terrible netting the first time. There he is. Yeah, so that little cab pot of grind bait's working very well now, isn't it? What we got is just got an old pot there on the top, but what I have done is drilled loads of holes in it all around the bottom, so as when I turn the pole upside down, I'll put my ground bait in it, just sort of put my fingers on it, squeeze it into the cup, not too hard. You can turn the top kit over and the ground bait don't come out. Oh, you know it's going your way when that happens. So I pulled out of that just so I netted it. But as I was saying, so then you turn it over, just lower it onto the surface of the water, push the pole pot, that little pole pot underneath the water. The water rushes into the hose at the bottom of the pot, which is upside down. So it's technically the sort of top, if you like, where you've got it turned upside down, and then you slowly bring that cad pot up out of the water. And what happens is by slowly doing it, the ground bit just goes down like a little ball, really, just like a little column, but it sticks together. if you turn around and lift the pot out too fast, you'll sort of make it into a cloud. You don't want that, especially in this depth of water. What you're looking to do is just make it go down that little blob. So it's a little bit like a method, I suppose, if you want to think of it that way. And then I don't drop me rig in straight away because I don't want me maggots down there before little tench and a little carp. But I don't want me no, it is a tench, but I don't want me maggots down there before the ground bait gets down there, otherwise I can get liners. So I let that poor little ground bait go down and I lower my bait down nice and slowly so it goes down sort of the same, if you like. And a big carp like we've been catching down there, they'll suck all of that up in one hit. The ground bait, the couple of maggots in there, my hook bait, all in one hit. So it's all about getting your time in. If you have to, count it until you get the right count. You know, you empty the pot, lower the rig in right on top of it and count it. You'll find the right pace in the end. Ah, nice ghosty. So I keep throwing those few maggots in because I don't want them to get too preoccupied with the ground bait. And as I say, I like fish to stay occupied whilst I'm playing or landing a fish. I've had to throw another net in there as well again, so it's never ideal when you're fishing this short. And that's something else is why we're fishing so short. Normally down here at Acorn, I mean different waters, you know, different approaches, but here in particular I find that my top kit along with a short 4, which is only I think 2.9 meters with a short 4 on it, is about right for 80% of the lake. But down this end where you got that bit deeper edges, I can fish even shorter, just the top kit. And the reason is I don't want to attract loads of fish into the peg. It might sound silly, but the shorter I am, the closer to myself, the less come in, especially when you're using ground bait. I don't want loads of liners. I don't want fish coming up off the bottom and going mad. So yeah, so that's the reason really. And with it being that bit deeper, you know, in close down this end of the lake, I can get away with literally just a top kit. And some of these bigger fish don't even know they're hooked. You've probably seen how quick I landed that as well. You know, you've always got a chance of just bringing them up nice and steady and getting the net under them quite quickly. If you miss, of course, you have to play them out a bit afterwards, but worth the risk. I can see Barry's catching over there on peg 25. Not sure how much he's had, but I think we're doing all right, as well as anybody, that's for sure. They're struggling a bit to my left. Lovely days fishing, whichever way it goes. Stay tuned and we'll see how we've done. But yeah, cracking day.